Hey gamers, Jake here, and it's the season of love, baby. Valentine's. Well, it's not the day itself, but who's keeping track anymore? In all seriousness, it's that time of year where romance is in the air, and for some reason, I've decided making a Valentine's video is a higher priority than having a Valentine. Romance games are all the rage these days, from Hatopo Boyfriend to Dream Daddy to I Love You, Colonel Sanders. Jesus, it's gotten out of hand. People are weirdly obsessed with dating people and/or pigeons that do not exist. But I'm weirdly obsessed with making videos so niche they'll instantly cap my audience at what it is now. So how about we celebrate those romance games by thinking about what they could bring to the table in Fraymakers? Now, I won't lie, I'm not much of a romance game guy, so some of these are stretches, but I'll be covering various potential representations of various indie games with romance elements, starting with this is a really obvious pick, but a costume based off of Orkane's look from Lovers of Ether would be really sick. It wouldn't affect gameplay anyway, it'd just be a neat little costume, which I don't think is super probable considering how much goes into the sprite animations for these games, but hey, Rivals and Pogo did it, so who knows. Other than that, there's one other way Lovers of Ether could be referenced, but before I talk about that, I should probably talk about
Monster Prom, be your worst self.
So a YouTuber named Thorgy talked about this recently, but I'm gonna go more in depth with the concept. A stage based on Monster Prom could be sick. It'd be set during the prom itself, with tables acting as lifts on either side of the stage. 7 characters would be able to make cameos in the background, with each throwing different items onto the stage. However, each item would have a different effect. For instance, Miranda would throw a poison apple, slowing you down and decreasing your attack power. Scott would throw protein powder, giving you a small general boost, and the Slayer would fire wooden stakes from her gun, damaging you. These effects would be temporary, aside from the damage of course, but they'd still have a major impact on the fight. However, somehow, this isn't the only dating sim set in a school featuring monsters. This was the thing I mentioned during the Lovers of Ether section. I don't think it'd be super important, but imagine if characters from Lovers also had a small chance of making a cameo, like Clarin or Sylvanos. I think that'd be kinda sick as hell. So this isn't a romance game, but it does involve getting over losing romance, and damn if we don't all need that sometimes. It's also one of the trippiest experiences I've ever had, and hot damn, a stage based on Dead of Night would be amazing. Fighting in the forest with a robot Cerberus firing off lasers in the background would be sick as hell. I know I say that a lot, but I mean it this time. And of course, the real reason I want this stage, honestly, is that the music would be insane. Dead of Night is already a fantastic track. You're hearing it right now, and I'm willing to bet your foot is thumping. And the jazz/metal covers could be just as fire. I really love this game. Please go play Sayonara Wild Hearts. So, Valhalla is a cyberpunk bartending game which, like Sayonara Wild Hearts, doesn't have romance mechanics, but it does have romance elements in the story. It's also, coincidentally, really damn pretty, so I'd love to see a stage come out of it. The battle would be set right outside the bar, with classic cyberpunk neon and rainfall covering the battleground. It's a walk-off, but there could be vehicles in the foreground to act as platforms. Since characters are the major focus of Valhalla, certain specific characters would show up in the background, walking to and fro the bar and watching the fight go down. The characters I'd want to see are Dana, Jamie, Alma, and of course, Rad Sheba. But plenty of other characters would be sick to see. So, if you're not familiar, Doki Doki Literature Club is a small, niche indie dating sim which, despite my constant persuasion to avoid games like these, is pretty entertaining. The humor's on point, and I gotta say, getting one of the members of the Literature Club would be sick. For this pitch, I'm gonna suggest Spider-Man's best friend, Sayori. When activated, Sayori will run across the stage trying to bring the players tea. Unfortunately, She suffers from the classic anime trope of being horrible at carrying things, so once she gets close enough to the opponent, or runs out of time, she'll faceplant, spilling the tea all over the opponent. Unfortunately for them, it is ridiculously hot, leading to the enemy taking chip damage from the burns for about 5 seconds. Of course, that's not all DDLC could bring to the table. I'd love to see trophies of Yuri, Natsuki, or even just Monica, if that's all they could get. Of course, of all the trope-filled weeb games I hate, Galgun is public enemy number 1. However, one of the characters could actually make for a pretty dope assist. Corona would fly into the air, hovering over the opponent for about 3 seconds before using her iconic, and totally not stolen, spear drop. She'll go for 3 tries, although she'll stop once one lands. Assuming one lands, the opponent will be buried if they're on the ground, or spiked if they're not. Corona will face the player to laugh at them for a few seconds before disappearing into a puff of smoke. And finally, probably the best game for this video concept, Boyfriend Dungeon. In this game, you find weapons in an otherworldly dungeon which can transform into hotties without Bugattis for you to date. For their representation in Fraymakers, I'm suggesting 7, the K-pop looking lightsaber with a penchant for blue. For his assist, he'll appear before transforming into a laser saber and flying to the summoner. After this happens, for a short period of time, the player's side smash will be replaced with a massive sword swing, with a wide arc and tons of damage. However, this won't last forever, as after about 3 or 5 uses, 7 teleports away, never to be seen again. So yeah, that's that. I want to say a big thanks to the Valhalla Discord. I'm not super knowledgeable on the game, but they were pretty helpful in making sure I didn't sound like a dumbass, so I appreciate it. I'm normally pretty bad at outros, but good news, I still am. So the usual promo stuff, like, subscribe, Twitter. If you haven't played these games, please consider checking them out. Valhalla and Sayonara Wild Hearts especially are so good. Oh my lord. And that's about it. Y'all have a good one.